Hey everyone, what's up? It's your girl, the Venusian Bull, and welcome back to my channel. And if this is your first time here, welcome. Hello. Thank you for joining me. I'm so excited because in this series of videos, we are going to be discussing planets in the 11th house. Okay, it's about to get futuristic up in here. All right, we about to be in the future in this bitch. Okay. You know how it is, you know how we do. We're going to do a little introduction video, little cute intro, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm going to break down the planets in the 11th house one by one, okay? So remember to like, comment, and subscribe, share, and tell a friend, tell many friends, tell a whole goddamn organization, okay? Because this is the 11th house we're talking about here, all right? Just a little bit of background on the 11th house and kind of the general characteristics. You know, the 11th house is akin to Aquarius. The 11th house is it's very revolutionary. It's very innovative. It's very eclectic kind of energy. It also has to deal with hopes and wishes and dreams, as well as, you know, large groups and organizations and like being a humanitarian and things of that nature. So it's kind of like a wide array of things. And when I go through each of the planets, you'll see some distinct things that I may discuss that I may not discuss in other videos because it'll be, you know, specific to that planet.
All right, so a couple more quick hits on the 11th house. So the 11th house also represents the LGBTQIA community. I think I covered all of the letters in that alphabet. So yes, it represents the LGBTQ plus community. And whether you are a part of this community, whether you're an advocate for this community, whether you have friends that are in this community, or whether you just interact on a regular basis with people in the LGBTQ community, that can be found in the 11th house, that kind of information. And also, this is the house of friends, okay? What about your friends? Will they stand their ground? Will they let you down again? So this is all about friends. So throughout me discussing the planets in the 11th house, and I know that singing was bad, y'all. But anyway, throughout me discussing the planets in the 11th house, I'm also going to discuss what that planet means in terms of how you are as a friend as well. So this is another relationship house, like the 7th house and like the 8th house, but it kind of deals with relationships on a large scale. You know, this is about the collective. It's not about individual relationships or romantic relationships. It's about, you know, your friendships, your platonic, you know, relationships and things like that. And also, you know, any types of, you know, organizations and groups that you may be involved in with like-minded people. So, you know, I just had to get that tidbit in there. You know, I got to be thorough. Okay. Bitch, got to be thorough up in this piece. All right. So, yeah, so I just had to get that in. So stay tuned for more.
And of course, as a disclaimer, I let y'all know that I can be quite literal in these videos. Yes, I'm literal on purpose because I make my videos not only for the people who are experienced in astrology, which the 11th house also represents, but also for the newbies that are coming in. So I want to, you know, make sure that they understand. So sometimes I can be overly literal. However, if you have placements in this particular house, just know that depending on what sign is on the 11th house cusp, what aspects other planets are making to this planet and things like that, it can definitely modify this energy, okay? So take this with a grain of salt. Okay, so these are the general characteristics that I'm going to be discussing as it pertains to the 11th house. I think I covered most of the things. It's not like a whole bunch of stuff, but y'all know how it is when I get into these videos. I start yapping, and a video I thought that was going to be 5 minutes turns into 25. So I'm not even going to say necessarily that these will be shorter videos, but we may be shorter. Also, you know, the 11th house is dealing with everything in the abstract, technology, social media, you know, forward thinking, progressivism, you know, all of that is very much 11th house energy. Okay. So without any further ado, we just going to get to it. We just going to get in it. You know what I'm saying? We're going to zoom to the future. Like, all right, I'll see you in 2025. Bye. All right, y'all, what's up? Okay, so in this video, we are going to be discussing Jupiter in the 11th house, okay? So having Jupiter in the 11th house is similar to having Jupiter in Aquarius or having Sagittarius on the 11th house cusp, and Pisces to a lesser extent. So Jupiter in the 11th house. So as a quick reminder, remember that Jupiter is all about abundance, it's about optimism, it's about expansion. So Jupiter is actually quite happy in the 11th house because we're talking about an abundance of friends and friends that actually really like you. You know what I mean? You may have some people like that are leeches and stuff like that, but for the most part, you're going to have a lot of friends and you're just going to have a lot of people that just like being around you. You know, you have this jovial energy, you have this upbeat, optimistic energy, and you know, you're for the people and you're for liberation and you're for freedom, you know? This is also like a very blessed placement as well, because this is the placement that, like, if you have hopes and dreams and wishes and you really, you know, um wish upon a star, those things can really, you know, transpire. So it would actually be, I think, in your best interest if you happen to have this placement, if you are really passionate about a cause or any type of activism work, to really put that in the forefront and put that out there, because this is the type of energy that can really make stuff happen. This is the type of energy that can create a movement. You know what I'm saying? This is the type of energy that if you got people together, like, we could actually, you know, get bills passed and, you know, through Congress, and it would be because of the people. The 11th house is all about the people. It's all about everybody who is not in the top 1% or the elitist class. You know what I'm saying? And with Jupiter being there, Jupiter does deal with wealth and abundance, but it's not necessarily wealth and abundance monetarily. It's in your ability to like make an impact on the groups and organizations that you're involved with, or the world, or, you know, your country, or something like that. So I would say, like, if you have this placement and you're kind of not really doing anything with it, I would suggest to look at what you're passionate about, and, you know, look to what sign is on your 11th house cusp, and that will help. And, you know, see if you can find like-minded people. That's always the key thing. You can't do this alone, and the 11th house knows that this is not a loner type of energy. This is about working with others towards a common goal. So find those like-minded people, find those Facebook groups where, you know, there's people who believe in the same things that you do, and I don't know, start a revolution. Do you want a revolution? Whoop, whoop. I say, do you want a revolution? Whoop, whoop. Whoa. Sorry. I'm in a singing and dancing mood today. All right, so back to Jupiter in the 11th house. So another thing to remember with Jupiter in the 11th house is that this Jupiter is a very spiritual planet. It is a very religious planet, but it's in the 11th house, where the 11th house is kind of off the beating path. Like, it's not really about religion. It's about spirituality, though. Like, the 11th house is about astrology. So if you have Jupiter in the 11th house, you're probably actually really into astrology and maybe other metaphysical practices as well. As far as religion is concerned, unless maybe you have Jupiter in Sagittarius in the 11th house, I feel like a rebellion against the religion or religious background that you may have grown up in and stuff like that. You may rebel against that because the 11th house likes to rebel, and they like to do what's not the norm. You know what I'm saying? And with Jupiter, you have this big, like, exasperated, like, insatiable appetite for life, and you just want to do it all, and you just want to be free, and you don't want to be tied down to, you know, the structures of organized religion and stuff like that. Hell, you'll probably create your own goddamn religion, to be honest. Like, I don't know, you call it you'll call it something, I don't know, futuristic, out of this world, something new and something fresh and something different. That's actually, yeah, you can start a new religion. You can start a new religion, a new belief system, and you could really like, this is cultish energy, especially if it's like Jupiter and Taurus in the 11th house. This could be very cultish. Just make sure that you're not like, what was that guy who in the 70s had that cult and had mostly black people? Was it Jim Brown? I think his name was Jim Brown. Yeah, don't be on the dark side like that. Oh no, 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 no. He was making people commit suicide like in the name of Jesus. Like fuck that. No, none of that type of stuff. Hopefully you're and Jupiter is so positive and optimistic anyway, but it does have a dark side. So hopefully you're not like one of those few like Jupiter energies that are operating on the dark side. But with it in the 11th house, you can really, really gain a following. You just have this really like larger than life type of energy that people really gravitate towards, and people really trust you, and they really believe that if they follow you, they will be free. Okay, they will be liberated. Maybe not like in all aspects, but even if it's just in the mind, philosophically speaking, or just, gaining more knowledge, because Jupiter is all about knowledge. Like this is probably, and I say this about a lot of places in the 11th house. When we get to Uranus, I will speak this again. But Jupiter in the 11th house is a very, very, very intelligent person, because you have to understand that you're combining like the technical, aspects of the 11th house with the technology and the math and the science and the brain activity. And you're combining that with the philosophical thinking of Jupiter and the spiritual, like high level, professor type of, kind of vibe and stuff like that. It's just like Jupiter is so big. So I have to use like so many words to like describe it. But it's like your abstract ways of thinking are still there, but it's like with love and abundance and come one, come all. Like, I don't want to make you look stupid, just because, I know how to speak eloquently and I know how to use big vocabulary words, because literally Jupiter in the 11th house is like big vocabulary words. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that you can't. That doesn't mean that you can't increase your vocabulary. That doesn't mean that you can't free yourself from a third grade elementary education. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that you are not smart. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they would be given backhanded compliments like that, but they believe in you. Like they have faith. Jupiter in the 11th house has faith. And that's the only reason why I feel like religion is not completely lost, or spirituality definitely is not completely lost in the 11th house, but even religion isn't, because it's something about, and this is such a contradiction of Jupiter, but it's something about following like a doctrine of some sort that prominent Jupiter people they are susceptible to doing. You know what I'm saying? So like I said before, you may create your own religion. You take a little bit of this, you take a little bit of that, you take a little bit of that over there, you take a little bit of that, and you have your own religion. You should write a book about it, and start a YouTube channel and start a podcast, and do all of the things that you can maximize your presence in the media, in social media, on the internet, because you will get seen. You will get noticed. Like this is the type of energy that will piss other people off that have to work so hard to go viral. Jupiter in the 11th house, you going viral with your video, okay? You're going viral with your video. Somebody with Jupiter in the 11th house, share my video. Share my video so I can go viral. Because, yeah, this is that type of energy, because it's like the 11th house represents the masses, and then Jupiter represents, big, bombastic, type of energy. So it's like it's compounded. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to think of the downside of Jupiter in the 11th house. Okay, so here it is. Y'all know I speak very highly of Jupiter because Jupiter is a benefic planet, and for the most part, it has a lot of positive aspects to it. However, Jupiter can be full of hot air. Like Jupiter can be full of shit. Jupiter can also be all over the place and it can be erratic. So in a house like the 11th house, which can be kind of rebellious and very freedom seeking and kind of, unpredictable, that's not always the best, combination of energy to be around. So it could be, it could like, you could like spontaneously combust, not literally, but figuratively. You'd be like, what happened to so and so? You know what I'm saying? I thought that they were organizing this, that, and the third or whatever. And you find out that, I don't want to say they overdose because it's more 12th house energy, but it's like, sometimes they have way too much on their plate and take on too much that they can't actually, succeed in completing things or achieving their goals. So it's very important for Jupiter in the 11th house to have people around them to like bring them from here to here. Like bring it down, bring it back, bring the volume down. You're really good when you're speaking out in front of thousands and thousands of people. But when it's just two people in front of you, you don't got to talk that loud. It's not necessary. It is not necessary. Okay. Also, you could be very blunt in your opinions. This is already an energy of Jupiter. This is already an energy of the 11th house. So you're going to tell it like it is. Like, and people, like I said before, they like you, they gravitate towards you. You have a lot of friends, you have a lot of people that like you and look up to you. However, you're not going to sugarcoat things. You may say it with a smile, you know what I'm saying? Or say it and, give them advice or something like that. But like, if you tell them like, nah, I do not think that you should go for your master's in psychology. You just don't have it in you. You don't have that fighting spirit. You don't have that desire to really connect with people emotionally. You too busy talking about your own problems. How you going to deal with somebody else's problems? Like this is that type of energy. This is like 11th house energy in general. Like they're going to tell it to you like it is. And Jupiter will probably in the 11th house do it a little bit nicer than that, because they'll like give you alternative career choices and things of that nature. But they have a lot of knowledge, they have a lot of experience, they have a lot of wisdom. They can just be very much all over the place. Like it can be exhausting, kind of dealing with a Jupiter in the 11th house person. It could just be like, okay, like, whoo, child. Like you feel like you're running a marathon, like talking to this person or just like dealing with this person on a regular basis. And you're going to be dealing with people, you know what I'm saying, if you have Jupiter in the 11th house. So if you know someone with Jupiter in the 11th house, just know that it may get a little exhausting at times just because their presence it could just be too much. Like sometimes Jupiter energy is just too much. Like give me 10 feet. Like back up, shut up, sit down. Goodness. But otherwise, Jupiter in the 11th house is a fabulous energy to be around. It's an interesting, quirky, like philosophical, freedom-loving, freedom-seeking individual. Oh, and just be careful because I didn't mention this in the Mars video, but these are people are not afraid to get arrested. Actually, they feel like they're invincible. So, like back in the 60s and stuff when they were doing the sit-ins, Jupiter in the 11th house, where do I sign up for that? And you might get arrested for doing that and being in the civil rights movement and stuff like that. They are not afraid to go to jail because personally, they think that their freedom should not be infringed upon anyway. So they're like, try me. Like they really think that they're invincible. Jupiter in the 11th house. So be careful hanging around that. If you're not ready, if you're not down to like go to jail and get arrested and really make a point, then maybe you shouldn't be in that group organization. But like I said before, if you are, this energy can be kind of cultish. You know what I'm saying? So you may get wrapped up in this if you happen to know somebody with Jupiter in the 11th house. And if you do have Jupiter in the 11th house, just know, use your powers for good, but you have that capability to be really influential and really, really make an impact on the people around you. around you physically and on the internet and social media and all of that jazz. So yeah, I'm glad that you guys watched this video. Again, I did not think I was going to speak this long about Jupiter in the 11th house, but clearly I had a lot to say. So that's very Jupiter. All right, so make sure you guys sound off in the comments if you happen to have this placement. If you happen to know someone with this placement, let me know. Did you get Stockholm syndromed into their cult? Let me know. Let me know, child. All right. So remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell all your friends, share. And remember, if you got Jupiter in the 11th house, spread the wealth. Spread the algorithm wealth. Spread that social media wealth and share my video. Share it with the masses. All right. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.